I had a year-old Renault Clio, and I was barely affording the payments on it. I was looking on the Auto Express website one day, looking through all of the Renault Clio 172s and dreaming that I would one day be able to afford one. I couldn't believe it. One was available that I could afford. It was dark blue, purple, and I think all 172s at the time were black. This 172 was an import from the Republic of Ireland and had a custom paint job. I was in love. And the sound of Mike Myers in Wayne's World saying, "It will be mine, oh yes, it will be mine," echoed through my ears. My current Renault Clio could just be handed back to the dealership with a small cancellation fee. I sorted out a loan with the bank and then arranged to withdraw the sum from my account. It was for a larger sum than the usual couple of £100 ATM limit, so I had to go to the bank with ID and proof of address. I left the bank with the urgency of someone in dire need of the toilet. I was walking as fast as I could, without running. Carrying a few £1,000s in a jiffy bag suddenly makes you wary of everybody. That pensioner walking slowly, holding onto a Zimmer frame, could spring into life, nab the jiffy bag and sprint off like she's Usain Bolt. Dad and I drove up to Leeds to see the car.
Ooh, hello.
I spoke to the seller for a very short time, gave the car the once-over, but didn't test drive it, and then asked him to give me a few minutes while we discussed the car. There wasn't any deliberation. It was just for show so that this guy didn't see me as an easy sale. Although the Renault Clio 172 tracksuit I was wearing probably hinted this was going to be easy, however, the idea of being a tough negotiator is different from actually being one. I suddenly lost my bottle and took the easy option, whipped out my jiffy bag full of cash, gave him exactly what the asking price was. It was the easiest money he'd ever made. The only time I've attempted to negotiate was when I bought my house. I tried to lowball them and start with a number lower than my limit, so I had room to negotiate. I had seen this done on the telly, so I knew this was a good tactic. Unfortunately, what I hadn't seen on the telly was the response I got. "I'd like to buy the property, so I'll offer X amount of pounds," I said confidently, starting the negotiation off at a figure I could increase as necessary. "No, I'll accept X amount, which is the asking price," she replied. Sensing my kryptonite is negotiating, "I'll pay X amount, which is the asking price," I replied, as if I'd had a Jedi mind trick played on me. On the drive back from Leeds in my newly acquired 2-litre pocket rocket, I gave it the beans on the motorway and heard a rattle. It sounded like there were lots of bits of metal in the exhaust. That was a £500 visit to Quick Fit. £500 I wouldn't have spent if I'd taken a breath and test driven it in the first place. Then I found out the insurance was going to cost more than I expected. I thought it was 3 years since my previous claim. It wasn't. This dream car that I could just afford, that needed a new exhaust on the way home, was now going to cost me an extra £175. I didn't have £175, so I was now going to be paying off a loan for a car I couldn't drive. My brother Adam had recently come into some money and gave me the £175, meaning I was now paying £1,600 to insure my hot hatch. If it wasn't for these pesky teenagers having accidents as soon as they've passed and increasing the insurance premiums... Oh, that reminds me. I'll tell you later why I claimed when I was a pesky teenager.